One of those things where. So today we have Mr. Villanueva from Via Homes.
Good morning. Good morning.
Thank you for being a part of this. Thank you for coming through and being our first guest here at the STBA podcast.
Mm-hmm. First time ever in the history of the world.
In the history of this planet.
Are we live already? Or?
Oh, we're as live can be.
That's good. That's good.
I'd like to get a live, if we have a laptop survey so I can see who's chiming in or who's listening. We can give people the opportunity to ask questions and stuff like that. I think that'd be kind of cool.
That would be cool. By any chance, do you have the opportunity to see if anyone's asking questions or chiming in with us? You can see?
Oh, awesome. Cool.
I guess I want to start by thanking you all for inviting me.
Of course.
Ronnie, thank you guys for inviting me. This is the first time I'm doing this, so cool. I hope everything comes out right. And what I learned about it is that we don't have an agenda. We don't have anything other than spontaneous, ask questions, and try to be as honest as I can with my answers. And we're ready, whatever questions you want to ask.
Sounds good. When Mr. B's name came up, it just came up like when we talked about it and said, okay, well, who's going to be our first guest?
Yeah.
You said, let's do Mr. B.
Yeah.
Why?
It's one of those things with
and then everybody was just like, yeah, that's good.
Yeah, there was like, let's do it.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I like to. I personally am the type of person where I like to learn from people that have lived more than I have. I grew up. I grew up with I'm always going on hunting trips with Pop, and all his friends are a lot older. So I just personally believe that you learn more off a person that's just lived more.
Yeah, of course.
The experience.
More experience.
Yes, sir. And I like to listen to any advice anyone could ever give. Yep. I mean, I think one of the biggest mistakes a person can make is not taking advice.
When we first started this organization and we all got together for the first time, I remember going to that meeting, and what I thought was really interesting was I got to see the guys' faces and match them up with their construction signs. That was my thing.
That's pretty cool.
Like, hey, that's CJ.
That's very cool.
And Muñiz was there. Oh, that's Muñiz. Angel was there. Oh, that's Andre.
And then you start kind of putting them with their logo, right?
Well, you have a sense of respect from a builder's perspective because you see the signs everywhere.
Right.
And Mr. Villa, man, you got signs everywhere. And so it's really cool that when we first got together, that was the tie-in, right? And for me, Mr. Villa, man, I see your signs all over the place.
I think personally, one thing that I noticed with STBA is that, how can I say this, before the pandemic, everything happened, whenever a builder would have an open house or something, I think we were a little more not want to share information. We're competing. And why am I going to have someone looking at my house and maybe getting some ideas and stuff like that? But I think what STBA has done is bring us together to really have that desire to help each other. And that's what I find the beauty about it, that even if you've been in business for so many years, there's always something to learn. Mm-hmm. But I was hesitant to be part of STBA at the beginning. Mm-hmm. But then when I see that people share things, and I say, you know what, we all can learn from each other. And helping each other is something that comes natural from, since I was little. My mom would always help other people. We come from a barrio from Reynosa, real poor, and my mom did a lot, to help the community. Yeah. Actually, I don't want to get too personal, but
no, we do want to get personal. the objective, we talked about this. The objective of this podcast was to make every builder cry.
Well,
we're gonna get real personal.
Well, I come from Reynosa. Actually, I was born in Reynosa. I was raised in Reynosa until I was 14 when I came to the United States. But my mom and my dad would always help in the community. We were very poor. We would have to raise chickens, and we have to sell fruit and things like that, to make a living. And even though we were limited on the money that we had, what my mom taught me or taught us is that we always help each other, and when and even in the Bible says, that when you help each other, it's good when you receive, but when you give,
Right,
and you help,
That's the ultimate gift.
yeah, that's the ultimate gift. There is that beauty, but there's that, it makes you feel good when you're helping other family. And that's what my mom did. My mom will go home to home, and try to sell stuff. But you see, a lot of that money that we would collect, we were actually trying to come out with the church. Mm-hmm. My mom was very Catholic, and there was no church in the neighborhood where we were living, La Cavazos. And there, my mom, vision was to come with the church. So actually, in our house, it was a small home, but nevertheless, when it came to Saturday, we would clean everything in a big room that was my sister's room, and be able to have a mass, la misa, ¿me entiendes? And a priest will come to the house and do that. And then my mom will talk to couples that were not married, encourage them to get married or to do the first communion. And
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it is pretty cool.
And then all the money that we would raise actually will go to the church to be able to save money to come up with the church. And right now, actually, I went to Reynosa not too long ago, and I'm not afraid to go to Reynosa, by the way. But so I went to Reynosa and to see the church that is already built, and that is there serving the community in La Cavazos. And know that my mom had a lot to do with it. That the first masses and everything that happened, the first couple that got married was actually in our house.
Wow.
And now we have a church there serving the community.
Okay, so how did that work? So you guys help build the church?
We help build the church. My mom will do kermeses, which is...
What's a kermesse?
Kermes is como chalupas or what they do. They do it in the Catholic church where, they sell plates for different occasions. And
okay.
Fundraising.
Okay,
fundraising in different ways.
Okay.
And all this money will go to a fund, that the church was collecting. And then the Catholic Church, what they do is if you want a church to be built in your community, you need to show that there is interest, and you need to show that there is families willing to help to make it happen. So I guess my mom's responsibility or goal was to be able to raise money so that they can show the main church, which was another church. In other words, other church was sponsoring that we were able to raise so much money, we were able to have a church. So that was Iglesia Cristo Rey. So Iglesia Cristo Rey was the one sponsoring, and the priest from the church will come and give mass at our home. So by raising money, then you show the bishop that this community is interested. There is interest on having a church, and you're actually being able to raise money for it. So of course, the bishop would put the money together, and be able to make it happen. So it was a challenge for my mom, but she was able to do it.
That's cool.
Wow.
Even though we were limited on money and everything. Yeah. So we did everything, from selling chickens, fruit. Me acuerdo mi papá mataba los marranos and be able, to sell, la comida, and we were so united. So helping that community was something that comes.
Let me paint the picture for the audience. So you're living in Reynosa. You're how old at the time when this is going on?
Well, I was born there, so you're talking about about 10 years old, 8, 7,
Brothers,
that age.
sisters, ¿cuántos?
I come from a big family, 11.
Wow. You don't see those numbers anymore, bro.
Mom and dad were in love.
Yeah.
The real love.
Yeah. Yeah. So it was good. It was 8 brothers, 3 sisters. And
you have a brother that's in the construction industry.
My brother, yes, and my brother Martin, he likes to serve, he likes to help people, and you see that that he gets involved with STB8 as well, because he likes to help. And
do you think the upbringing within that particular environment has definitely shaped the way that you approach people yourself?
Yes. Because at the end, we're in this business. We want to make money, and we have a family to support and all that. But nevertheless, helping each other, it is something that comes within our roots.
I personally admire y'all's family for the way that y'all help each other, because I see it, and you see Mr. Martin with, helping his sons, and then you see yourself and you help your sons, and everyone has their own thing
Very
going.
family oriented.
Yeah, and everyone, everyone's building, everyone's doing their thing, everybody's making their money, and most families aren't like that. Most families are like, it's just me, man, and you figure your shit. You know what I mean? Like, you got to figure your shit out because no one helped me. But that goes away from how you said, like, you have to give.
Absolutely.
I mean, family. Yeah, let's say that you have a brother or sister doing their own business, whatever they do. You want for them to do their own thing, but at the end of the day, if something goes wrong with that family, I mean, I guess for us at least, it comes natural that we need to help each other. We need to,
That's the way it should be, right? Not all families are like that, but I think being raised in this community, in the Valley, Reynosa, I mean, it's all part of one community.
But it's
that's kind of big.
But the whole family. I want to say it's like definitely the upbringing. Your parents. Like, we're nothing but the product of our parents.
Absolutely,
that has to go back to your mom in a way. Your mom brought you all up to be united and to be there for each other.
Yeah, and my dad worked very hard. I mean,
What do you do for a living?
My dad was working in Petróleos, Mexico, but things were a little tough. So at the end of the day, we decided, one of the oldest brother that was left, there was about 5 of us that were not married. So we were able to come to the U.S. and try to have a living over here. One of the older brother was the first one.
Okay.
And then the rest of the family came to U.S. And it was hard. I was 14, maybe going to 15. I had finished elementary and going to la secundaria, which is I was about in the 8th grade.
So like the middle school.
Middle school, yeah. When we came to U.S. and it wasn't easy. I mean, and I started working.
Did you know English?
No, not really. I learned the hard way. I guess what made it interesting to learn English, when you're in the Valley, it makes it a little bit harder to learn English. And the reason is this, because a lot of people speak Spanish.
Right.
But I went to Oklahoma to live with my brother for about a year, and that's what made it better. Because you're forced to speak. You have to.
You have no choice.
Yeah. And I remember when I got to Oklahoma, que me dijeron, you're not the only one from Mexico. You're not Mexican here. Actually, we have other people. Yeah, there's 3 already. The 3
in the States.
There's 3 already.
There's 3 already. So,
and times have changed, right? Big time. I'm sure you go to Oklahoma now, and there's a bunch.
There's a bunch, yeah. And so that was like in high school. So más o menos.
Did you go to high school in Oklahoma?
I went for 1 year.
Okay.
I went for a year and then graduated from PSGA, Bears.
All right.
Oh.
1982.
That was the only school that PSGA or FAR San Juan Alamo had at the time.
If you ask people from FAR San Juan Alamo what they remember about our school in PSGA, Bears, is that we had our own smoking area.
So I remember when we would go to PSJA, when we played football in high school.
Okay.
Or junior high, actually. They would tell us when we finished the game, we'd have to keep our helmets on because they would throw rocks at the buses. That's PSJ.
Hey, PSJ's a hardcore. It was hardcore when I went to high school there. Yeah. We had a couple of
way after the 82.
Yes, sir. So I could just imagine back in the even way more back in the day. Like I look back at when I went to high school, we had like 3 people in my class pass away, man. We had 2 that were gang related, and we had one that just was in the wrong place at the wrong time. So. PSJ, I think that PSJ within itself, it's a hard system, man. It's a hard system.
Yeah, there was the Tri-City Bombers back
then.
The
TCB. Yeah. You'd see the graffiti everywhere.
Yeah. But you see, it's really a lot of times you can pick the best school for your children, but a lot of times it's the education that you give them, that make them better. So for me, PSJ, I feel safe. Like I said, we had us growing a smoking area, but what I mean is that smoking was legal.
Within the school.
Yeah, within the school, but you can only smoke in that particular circle. So we had our own circle where you have to go smoke, and then you get out of the circle, you cannot be smoking. Something to try to keep it under control. So it was really nothing bad.
But in a way, do you think those systems kind of shape you to go through life? I mean, they're hard systems, and you have to learn how to navigate through those waters.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm sure you had to be a stronger piece of shell back then than you actually have to do now to go through systems like high schools like that, right? But I mean, man, I went to PJ North, and that was a hard system. Our class was like 980 something people. That's almost 1,000 people
huge,
just in one class, and then we had 4 like that. So you're talking about 1,000 people per class almost. It was just retarded. Like it was. And then another thing was it was an open campus type thing.
Yes.
So you would go to a class, and then to go to another class, you had to go outside. You know, like so you're paying the security guard so you can leave and go buy food. You know, but I think those systems give you the opportunity to really strengthen yourself as a young adult. So then when you leave, but I don't know. That's just my perspective on it. Like it wasn't an easy system, but.
Yeah.
What kind of student was Mr. V? Mr. V.
Well, I was
The skipper?
no, actually, I like to, I really study a lot and I concentrate on that. And the thing about it is when I was about 10 years old, and this is also getting a little personal, but when I was about 10 years old, I got sick of my left leg, osteoporosis, which means that my bone was getting
Brittle.
Yeah, so that was kind of sad at the end of 10. So at the age of 10, I ended up using a wheelchair to be able to move around. So that was very hard. And I was in the clinic or a hospital in Mexico. And then my dad, what he did, he got me out of the hospital for Christmas when I was about 10, maybe 11. And he heard about this good doctor in Mexico, Leopoldo Cho Chung. I still remember his name. And they say he was very good for these kind of problems. So I wasn't walking or anything. As a matter of fact, even the priest went to see me when I was in the hospital, Los Santos Óleos, que te vas a morir, that kind of stuff. So when my dad got me out, he got me out for Christmas. But his intention was to take me to this doctor. And when I went to this doctor, my dad was carrying me. And the doctor said, you know what, this is what you're going to do. And you put him in hot water, and you put this on the water, something to help out. I don't even remember what they were doing with the water. The thing is, the medicine in the warm hot water help, and being with a good doctor, he said next time that he comes, he's going to be using los muletas.
Like crutches?
Yeah, crutches, and
Yes,
he's going to be better. Give it a month, 2 months at most. And sure enough, within a month or two, I was already using crutches, and I got better and better. So having a good doctor, I guess, he was good. And a dad that had the determination, because when he went to the hospital, he just got me on his arms and said, I'm leaving. He said, wait a minute, you can't take him. Yes, I'm taking him. So my dad had the desire, what it takes to make decisions, and that's why I'm here, that I was able to
take care of himself.
So I guess what I'm saying is I wasn't really into sports. So that's what kept me from playing sports or basketball, baseball, football. Yeah. It was kind of hard.
Wow.
So
man, that's interesting.
yeah.
So you're 10. How long did that last?
Maybe until about I was 13.
Wow.
So
That's 3 years.
3 years in a wheelchair? Or
well, in wheelchair I was probably like a year or
now.
so, but then I started getting better. After I saw this doctor. So that's why I guess going back to high school, I wasn't really in sports.
Yeah.
But it was a big bless for me, and up to now it is, that I always had this, I want to call it an angel.
Yeah.
That always helped me and protect me.
Your pops.
And that was my brother, Martin.
Oh, your brother.
Martin was always there for me, and he helped me out.
How old is your brother?
My brother is a year and a half older.
A year and a half older.
But that's so special, man.
Yeah.
Like there's no love like a brother's love or a sibling's love.
And like I said, I couldn't really do sports or do something hard. So even though PJ was hard to be there, but nevertheless, nobody would mess with me because that was my brother right there.
Because they were going to mess with Martin.
They were going to mess with Martin. And
was Martin a tough guy?
Martin was a tough guy. Martin was you wouldn't mess with him. And I remember one time I was in class and a guy made a comment to me, in an offensive way. And my brother said, don't mess around with my brother. That's my brother. And the guy dijo, well, a la salida, after school, after class, Dijo el otro guy, dijo my brother, sure, I'll meet you after class. Okay. So as soon as the class was over, the guy was walking, and my brother was behind him. He said, hey, me dijiste es after class? Yeah, it is after class. And the guy said, sure. So when the guy went down to put his books down, mi hermano, palo, cabrón.
First punch. You can't
Boom.
wait. Yeah.
And so nobody messed around with me and nobody messed around with my brother. So, and that's what I call it, an angel. I think angels comes in different ways. I think angels comes in your own family.
Sure.
And that's it.
That's
You know, I still remember when we had a meeting with Mr. Martin, and the first thing he asked was, "Can I bring my brother?"
yeah.
Remember that?
Yes.
He was like, "I'm there. Can I bring my brother?"
Yeah.
And
That's a good point, man.
that
obviously it stems from
yeah.
a long brotherhood.
It's the thing. It's your all's upbringing. You know, I have I have brothers. You know, we're three. My mom had 3 boys, but in my perspective, like my brother, he's like, we can argue, we can fight, we can have our differences just like anybody else. But I can call him right now, and I guarantee you he's gonna answer. And he's in San Antonio now, and he will drive down if I tell him I need you to come here. And he's a fighter.
Bring a shovel.
Yeah, like
and he'll bring a
like
shovel.
He's a fighter. He's a fighter by spirit. The guy likes all that stuff. I'm not saying that he's an aggressive person, because he's one of the most peaceful guys, but he likes to train and all that good stuff. He's just a natural type of like that. I'm more opposite. I'm more more peace, more chill. I like to relax. A little bit more calmado. But that brotherly love, like it's instilled from your mom.
Mm-hmm.
You know how she brought you all love. Because I still remember, like, as kids, me and my brother used to get into it, and chingazos, boom, 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 boom. And mom would be like, hug it out, give each other a kiss, get over there, sit in the same dinner table, eat dinner together right now. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, she never let us be apart. She never let us, like, okay, se pelearon, okay, well, hug it out, give each other a kiss. Even if I didn't want to be sitting next to them, I had to be sitting next to them. But it shows you, like, I mean, brothers are, you only get 1-2 brothers in this life, And
Yes.
I think I personally judge a person on the way they treat their own family. Mm-hmm. Like, to me, it's like, when one of the biggest things that I've never understood is, like, if I ever meet somebody who's like, well, I don't even talk to my dad, or I don't even talk to my mom, or I don't talk to my brother, or I don't talk to my sister. I think to myself, like, how can you not talk to your own people? Yeah, pues no, pues they did me wrong, dude. But that's your blood.
Yeah,
it's a tough world in and of itself, man. To have to go through it,
Exactly.
At least you got your brothers and sisters to go through that.
Yeah, for me it was a blessing having my brother and my family. I mean, they all been good, and by my brother and I, because we're so close to each other. It's only a year and a half. Yeah. My dad was so consistent. A year and a half. Yeah. Uno, otro.
no le
real love,
yeah.
Real love.
And I'm blessed to have my dad's name.
Yeah.
After 11, but it was actually 13 because 2 of them died, when they were little. So it was a total of 13 actually. Wow. But I was the very last one. And for some reason or another, my dad decided, este va a tener mi nombre. He's gonna have my name, Emigdio Villanueva. And that was a blessing. I don't know how he knew that was it. I guess he was.
And you mentioned before we started the podcast, you're the third.
No, my son.
Your son is third. Okay.
Villanueva, yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, he's the third.
That's cool.
Ella tiene su hijo. He has his son, and he's the fourth.
Oh, he's a father.
Yeah, he's a father.
Your son is a father.
My son is a father. I guess.
Wow. How old is your son?
My son, to ask me that. I'm not very good in math, but he's.
Don't ask me that question because I don't know.
I think he's 34. If I'm correctly.
Don't ask him when the birthday is. We're going to put him on the spot. I asked my kids, hey, when's your birthday?
When were you born, motherfucker?
It's coming up, right?
Yeah.
How many kids you got now?
I got plenty.
Yeah. We stopped counting.
But no. I mean, he's the third, and his son is the fourth. Anyway, going back to STBA. So what I found is that of helping each other, and before we got into
that didn't exist.
Yeah, before that it was different, because I remember if I was gonna have an open house, I wouldn't like to see a builder coming to look at my house.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
You wouldn't even run them off. Like,
Yeah.
what are you doing?
No, I remember I would feel the same sense of territorialism.
Yeah. It's like, hey, what are you doing in here?
Yeah.
Like,
What you copying or what? Hey, don't take pictures.
yeah, right. I mean, why are you taking pictures of them?
And now we take pictures together. It's kind of crazy. We'll stand outside the house and take pictures.
It's
what
crazy,
a difference,
bro. It is
2 years.
I know.
Wild.
I went to one of the open houses. I believe it was you and Gomez.
Yeah, we had Gomez and I had an open house together. In the same community.
And when I went, it was more like, hey, thank you for coming and look at the house and what do you think? And it's totally different, you know, what STBA does to bring us together and the desire and the willingness to help each other.
I think
and it feels good. It's like, hey, I need a framer or I have some lots for sale. But what price do you have? And you know, we really interact with each other and we really have that.
Es que para todos hay.
There is, man.
I read once that this world is abundant, and when you see the world like that, I personally, I have builders that call me every day. I need this, I need that, I need this, I need that, and if I don't have somebody, Ronnie, I need this, I need that, you know, like or hey Dad, I need this, but it's like para todos hay.
You can't build them all. You can't build all the houses that are going to get built in the valley.
No.
You can't. But if they are going to get built, well, I'd rather them get built by people in our community, Mr. V, your pops, you know, the guys that are from here.
Yeah.
Right. If we're going to shape the valley, let's shape it with the people that grew up in this area.
You know what I found really interesting?
That was my.
It's interesting that you say that because I found it really interesting. That day that we had that lunch, I know you were there, Mr. V, when that in Mission, and they were talking about developing like what was it like?
Oh yeah,
400 acres or
400 acres in South Mission.
You remember that
company out of Dallas, I think.
And there's a company out of Dallas, and they're gonna be selecting what builders they want to allow to build in that community.
Yeah,
and they're not even from here.
Yeah. So, and here's the thing, though, that we brought up in that meeting is just that. Okay, if they're going to come into our community, and I don't know if this is going to happen or not, but if they are going to come into our community, well, we should have the opportunity to build those houses. Not some builder out of somewhere where we don't know, that doesn't know our community, that's not going to feed back into our community. We want the option to be able to build there.
I think you're right,
and we've got to continue to encourage that. We had the mayor. Well, the mayor wasn't there, but I think the deputy mayor or the city manager, I think, was there.
Yes, sir.
We've got to keep pushing that that message forward. That okay, obviously we need outside assistance to continue to help us grow, but let us be a part of that.
I wonder if, it has to be some sort of a bidding war in a way. You know, when you get a company with a huge company that could come and develop, they have all their personal machinery and all that stuff. It has to be some sort of bidding. It's a bidding war within the city, you know? So maybe if it's like more cost effective to get somebody to come from the outside to come and develop, but in a way, you're taking away from the people that are building here consistently. Yeah. Because if it's 400 acres that they're going to develop, how many houses can you build on 400 acres? It's a lot of houses.
Chingos.
That's a whole nother city.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's crazy. And then you're going to be selective? Oh, well, we'll maybe let 10 builders come in here and build. In 400 acres, bro?
Yeah. No, they got to give us an opportunity. And we as an organization, now that we're working together, now we can actually help influence that.
That is correct.
That day that we all went to Edinburgh, the guys that showed up,
to the city.
Remember that?
Yeah.
And that's why it's very important for numbers to show up.
Of course.
Because it's numbers. Correct. It's numbers that move things. It's
especially in politics.
Especially in politics.
And it makes a big difference.
We're votes, right? Yeah. And if we're together and we have numbers, then obviously we can try to influence change in a positive way.
Yeah. Yeah. Like it's crazy. Like I recently went to San Juan and go get information on that whole thing with the trash bins that's going on. And the people that are there, and they're the ones that are approving these plans and construction and all that good stuff. The lady herself was like, I don't even understand why they're doing this. Mm-hmm. She's like, I think it's insane that they're making you pay. What was it? I think it was like $350 as a deposit, and then every day after that, you're paying. I think it was $10 or $30 a day, plus every time that they pick up your trash is $250. And if you don't have it there, they're gonna stop your like all these.
Your trash bill should not be the biggest line item in our budget. At the end of the day, it's all it's gonna happen is we're gonna pass that expense on to the buyer, and now house prices are gonna.
That can have a domino effect for other cities. Yeah. So we're gonna do something about it. We're gonna have a meeting with the city.
Yes, sir. But that's where numbers come into play.
Yeah,
we need
everybody to come. Show up to those meetings.
It's a numbers thing because we didn't even know that they passed that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
When did they pass that? Out of nowhere, they're just like, boom. Now you have no. And then the funny thing is, the lady goes, "Well, we don't have any more trash bins in the city, so you're gonna have to pay your deposit. Create yes, sir. Create a box that you all have been doing, and then when we have a trash bin, we will take you your bin." What do you mean? So I still have to pay a deposit on something you don't even have?
Yeah. Meanwhile, we have some builders in our organization that have invested in dumpsters and in bins that want to make a business out of it. And
right.
What a great opportunity for another individual to make a business out of it.
Right.
And the city, for some reason, isn't allowing us to do that.
No, they're not. Well, the cool thing was going back to Edinburgh. When we found out that they'll charge you, what was it, $5 or $25 to pick up your trash? Remember that?
It was
yeah. That was
the
wild.
grapple.
The grapple.
Yeah,
that was.
I haven't tried it yet, but there was some. It was inexpensive to actually do that.
You think that's real? Like
I don't know. I need to try it.
Was it like $7 or $10?
It was something like that.
Yeah. It was very little.
It was very little. Less than we were paying now. So I need to try it.
Yeah, we definitely need to try it. So, Mr. V. So how'd you get into construction? How did this happen?
How did it happen? Well, I graduated in 82. 84, I finished associate degree, but it was more into computers. So I started working for the housing authority in the 84, 85. And then working for the housing authority after so many years. Here he comes. My brother.
Again.
Here comes your guardian angel.
¿Qué estás haciendo?
And he went and met with me. I was the director for the housing authority in the city of Alamo. Okay. And he said there with me, and he said, well, brother, how much are you making? And back then, I said, well, I was very proud of what I was making. It was like $26,000 or something like that. It was about, it wasn't really a lot. It was like $500 a week, right? Okay. I guess. And you divide it by...
It's 27, más o menos. 27 and some change.
So he said, well, you know that if you do 2 houses, maybe 3, you can do that. I said, well, yeah. And so he said, in other words, back then, $10,000, $15,000 per home was a decent profit. So doing 2 homes, you were able to make it. And I said, well, yeah, but so I started doing construction on the side and still working for the housing authority.
Construction, building your own?
Yes, actually, since I was familiar with government entities, what I decided to do, I said, you know what, is a housing authority in any government entities, they need to go out for bids for whatever they do.
Yeah. So
the cities had the CDBG program that do houses for low-income families, like have an old home. They demolish the house and build a new home for you.
Okay.
So I heard about those programs. So I decided, you know what, I can probably start doing houses on the side and, taste the water, see how it is, the construction. So I started doing bits. I created my own company on the side, Quality Investments, and then hire somebody to be able to help me out to run the show of building these homes. So I started building homes, small homes. They were like $45,000 per home, and be able to make about $7,000 per home. So it was a good profit back then, But to be able to do it and keep your full-time job, you had to have somebody
running the show.
Yeah. So I did hire a gentleman to help me out, a very nice man. And but of course I showed him everything that he needed to do. So eventually he opened his own business and he started bidding on the houses himself, you know. So that wasn't working very well. So we also look, and then maybe getting a couple of lots. So we started getting some lots. Back then was La Panderosa subdivision where we started building homes. I remember. That's on Nolana and Way Road. And different, some of my older brothers were also building homes at the time.
80s, this is in the 80s, mid-80s?
Mid-90s, yeah.
90s.
Okay. So that's what we started. But at the end of the day, it was good. The profit, maybe there wasn't that much, but I decided if I really want to make it a success, I need to quit my full-time job and go into 100%. And that's what I did, Stop working for the Housing Authority. I was working for a different organization back then, which was Christian Children's Fund. So I got out of that organization and then went full-time in construction in the early 90s. When I went full-time, but I already had the company. So we've been in business for about over 30 years.
Gotcha.
But under the name of Quality Investments.
Okay.
Of course, and to raise my kids, take them to college and, all that kind of stuff. So later on, my son, Emigdio, the third, is the first one that joined the company, or we came with Villa Homes, maybe around 2016, 2015, por ahí más o menos. And that's what the name of Villa Homes, because Quality Investments was not, people wouldn't make a connection to construction.
From a marketing perspective, right?
Yeah, so then Villa Homes name came along. And we started building homes, my son and I. Then my older son, David, was working for he already finished college and he went to work for a concrete company in Laredo. And then he decided to join the company as well. So we decided to be three owners. So we made a Villa Homes and LLC.
Interesting.
As all three of us owning 1/3 of the company. And that's what we have right now.
The timing seems about right, because I remember in 2016 as I start seeing Villa Homes.
Villa Homes,
yeah. And you guys adopted a farmhouse modern style.
Yes.
and blew up from what I saw, right? Signs everywhere.
Your style is very unique, also.
but you guys,
we know that's a structured home.
Yeah. You can't see a home without being like, that's a structured home.
Yeah.
That's Ronnie's home, yeah. And
but that style for you guys,
his work
took off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like what
they
put them on. You put it on the market in a way.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna give a lot of credit to my daughter-in-law, Brianna. Brianna has
it was her idea to do that.
He
style.
has a lot of ideas.
Yeah.
I think because for me it was more building homes and more concerned about the quality and the construction itself.
When you changed the style, or when you veered into that style, how did that affect your business?
Good. Yeah. Because
were you already doing a bunch of homes, or when you got into that style, did it?
Well, what Brianna does, she's the one, the designer. She's the one that decides what we can do and cannot do and what's going to be good for the business. I know we visit other places, and I'm also want to give credit to the Pareto Homes.
Yeah, of course.
Because the Pareto Home helped us in 2018. Because we were able to get some awards on the Pareto Homes. So that made us very well recognized, statewide and nationwide. So that helped. And but we went to a Pareto Homes in New Braunfels, I believe.
Okay.
Next to San Marcos.
Okay.
Yeah. And we got some ideas from over there. So visiting other places and bringing those ideas does help a lot.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense, yes. And so we bring from other places.
What is that? What is the name of that couple that builds in Waco?
I don't know the name, but I know who you're talking about.
Anyway, they have a similar style, and so I think from it obviously has had an influence on kind of the whole state.
But I think that within itself is like traveling and like we were talking the other day, man, I can't go somewhere I can't go anywhere without just looking at everything.
Right.
I'm just like, okay, like
I should try that.
And I don't know. It's how you say you're groomed into in a way to look at everything, and I think that's the best thing that a builder can do is go out, see what people are doing different somewhere else, and then try and come and implement it and make it your own here. Because, like, in a way, if I would ever see someone trying to duplicate what you're doing, I'm just gonna be like, well, you're just a copy. You know, like you're not really being original. And that originality is very important, at least to me. But like I see, like I was saying Ronnie the other day, somebody that's been in the construction industry my whole life, I see repetitiveness consistently. You know what I mean? There's no sense of trying to do something different in a front elevation. There ain't no sense of I just garage. It's like Ronnie said, garage door and a window, and you see it. I mean, if it works and it sells and it's cost effective and you're making your money, well, we understand the reason for that.
Sure,
right?
Of course. There's all kinds of builders, right?
All kinds.
But from a creative standpoint, it's okay to have influence from others, right? Nothing in this world truly is original, right? Something is pulled from somewhere else, and then you make it your own. That's
the beauty about the gallery that STV has, idea, because everybody has different ideas, and that's what we presented as art. It's art, you present your ideas, and people can see what you have to offer. We're all different. We all have different ideas. Back in the years, I mean, I would never think about painting brick. Yeah. And now it's so common. A lot of people,
why are you going to mess it up?
Yeah, why am I going to paint the brick? I mean, just shoot a good brick, right?
No, it's common. Paint it white.
I paid to install it. Now I got to paint it.
Yeah. And so things change, Yeah. And that's why I guess having my daughter-in-law, Brianna, she kind of makes those kind of decisions, what we can and cannot do, and be able to be unique.
How did you?
I think that's really important. Sorry to chime in, but I think it's really important because if we're looking at this in the long run, maybe not in the next 2-3 years, but if we keep at this for the next 10, 15, 20, 30 years, what does the valley look like if we are all investing a little bit of our energy on being unique? What does that look like 30 years from now? In my opinion, man, it's going to be an area, community where people from all over the country can say, you see what they're building down there? Yeah. That for me would be mission accomplished.
Yeah, right? That is correct.
Yeah. So I'm talking to a sales guy back in the 2017, 2018, a lumber sales guy. And I always ask, hey, well, who's your best builder right now? Who's building? Right? Because it's my reconnaissance is, okay, well, why do they have so many? Why are they selling so much? And what is it that they're doing different? And so just kind of trying to get some information. And I remember this particular sales guy, I won't mention names, but Via, he's got like 80 contracts. What?
80 contracts.
What?
Yeah.
80.
I'm having a hard time with 8.
That's 80.
So you guys had a boom. Right?
Yes, and I think the good marketing, it was he introduced us to a different way to do marketing, and it worked very well for us. And he came at the right time. He joined our team at the right time.
Your marketing guy?
Well, the salesperson, the sales manager.
Okay.
He joined the team at the right time, and he had very good ideas. He presented. I remember meeting him in a restaurant, and he said, "You know what? I have these ideas, and I think it can help the company to do better." And it just happened at the right time. I run the Pareto Homes and be able to sign so many contracts, and for us to get organized and see what was coming.
Yeah.
So that was a big blessing. Yeah, I mean, we got from 80, maybe we went down to 50 and things like that, but things have been good.
And then you still got to build them, right? So one thing is
selling
got to
build them. Yeah.
Now you got to build them. How did you do that?
Is it 80 custom homes or just 80 homes?
At one time, it was custom homes.
Yeah.
And it was hard. And now what we're doing is we're trying to concentrate in different subdivisions, just one location or 3 locations, because custom homes is very hard.
Kind of narrow it down to a certain region.
So we come out with different spec plans, and then out of the spec plans,
small adjustments,
changes can be made to those plans. Yeah,
yes, sir.
But that way you know what to expect, what expenses are, and all that kind of stuff.
In order to be able to create or to do that kind of production.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
So right now we have a subdivision there on Magnolia, which is where Gleskock and 2 Mile.
Yeah.
And well, that's what we're doing. We're doing this.
How's that subdivision going?
It's going real good.
Yeah. How many lots do you have there?
It was 29. We probably have about 6 or 7 lots left.
Is that your subdivision? No, you're not selling to any builders?
No, not in that particular subdivision.
Not right now.
No, I mean, because what we do is we try to keep the
style. Yeah.
the style for that particular area, you know.
Continuity.
But in a way that's really
cool.
Yeah, like that also is a huge selling point when you talk to clients and you like it's just one builder. You know, like it's one of those things where it's just like, oh shit, it's just one
the
builder.
community's gonna have uniformity.
Yeah, it's just one builder. You know what I mean? That within itself, it's a huge selling point. And one question that I wanted to ask you, Mr. V, is all these letting like your sons come in and their wife, like the son's wife, and letting them all make their own decisions within the company. Like,
how's that work?
Yeah, like how did you, or how were you like? Yeah, let's do that, because there's a lot of people that try and control everything. You know what I mean? And it's like, you don't know anything. Yeah. I know everything. You know what I mean?
Well, and people say this, right? Like it's a thing that people talk about. Don't do business with family.
Exactly.
And yet, you guys,
it seems like it's thriving.
It's all
for
family.
You. Yeah.
I mean,
how do you make that work?
One thing, I guess, I hate to bring my brother again, but one thing that he had taught me is you get in the morning and you pray. And it's not easy, but nevertheless, it's possible. It's possible. We work all together. I have 2 boys and a girl, and that work there in the office. And we're, you know, I'm going to say we never get into any disagreements. Yes, we do. Yes, we do. But we always try to find that solution.
Yeah.
We're a corporation, so we all get our salaries, our payroll check every week, and everything that is profit stays with the company.
Yeah.
So nothing else goes out other than our salaries. And everybody has their own responsibilities. My son, Emigdio, he deals more with the construction of the home, which is everything that we're doing. You know, he works with the project managers on the different places that we're working at. So what we do, we divide it by sections for different project managers. And then my son overlooks all the operation. Then David, my son David, you know, he deals more with financial. He worries about the money.
Got it.
Yeah, you gotta finish the houses. You know,
Everybody's got their
we
role.
need to close this deal, and we need to go like this so we can, you know. So, and
did they all assume their own roles as y'all grew?
You remember,
or was it?
Or did you assign?
You know what? You're gonna be good at this. You're gonna be good at that. Or did it evolve?
I think that since Emigdio was first in the company, so he always had to do with construction, and he went to school for construction.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So that's why he was strong on that. Yeah. But he was more in the hard way, I guess. It was only a vocational school, you know, over there in Harlingen for something for construction.
Yes, sir.
So it wasn't really like a 4-year college, but that helped him out a lot, the hard way to learn. And then my son, Emigdio, he was always involved with, on quality investments, he would actually be involved on the construction of the small homes that I was doing for the city. So he was really more into that part. When David came along, then David went to San Marcos, a school in San Marcos, and he
Southwest
Texas State.
Texas State, yeah. He graduated from there. Yeah.
Southwest was when I was a little young.
It was also construction actually, but so as I mentioned before, he went to work for a concrete company.
Okay.
Because one of the main guys there at the school, you know, owned one of those companies. So, but he was more into numbers. More into the money. I'm kind of myself more into the money itself. So he kind of is more like me in a way. You know, like he worries about the money and what's going to happen, all that kind of stuff. So that's why it kind of automatically, when he became part of the company, he was in that part.
Yeah. He just assumed that role because that's what. You know.
Yeah. And then my daughter, Vanessa, she was dealing more with signing the clients and more into explaining the contract to them. And then she deals more with change orders. She deals more with those kind of things.
Okay.
that also. And then when the pandemic hit, it was very helpful because she was dealing with that particular area that it was very hard to deal with.
Yeah.
When you have all these prices increases, and now how do you deal with this when you have a contract, and how do you?
That was a tough time.
Yeah, that was a very tough time.
Did that affect you? Did that affect your company?
Did that affect because, of course, the profits were not there because you had signed contracts at a lower price, and you have to approach families and do whatever was within the contract.
Okay.
And to explain a customer, that you needed to increase the price because of the wood, especially the wood.
Yes.
Our contract specifies 25%, the original contract that we had. So getting to 25% was easy on the wood. Because the wood did go
triple.
Yeah, so that wasn't hard on the wood. But there was all of these items that didn't meet the criteria of the 25%. But you still have to do the house. So that's what the profit was going, and on those items that we couldn't really do an increase. So we lost quite a bit of money.
You're basically just building the house to get it built and getting out, right?
Exactly.
Getting out of the contract.
Profit.
So it was hard. Then later on the contracts, we changed the contract, when with attorneys, and we were able to change it to a 10%, I believe.
Yeah.
And because if you think about it, when you do a house, I believe the profit on a house, más o menos 7 to 10%, that's the profit. Now, but if you are only at 7 or 10%, where's your overhead?
Right.
So you also need to have another 7 to 10% for your overhead.
Okay.
So every house, you should be between 15 and 20%.
Correct.
To do your overhead expenses and be able to have some profit.
Yep.
So when the contract says over 25%,
you don't even make that.
You need to be losing money to be able to do a changeover.
Yeah.
And then so that's what we.
That was tough, man. It was tough on a lot of builders.
And I think we never expected that to happen.
Yeah.
Man, Does it happen in 100 years or
something? That was crazy. That was a weird time, man. That was. I still remember being locked up in my place. Did anyone ever get COVID here?
Yeah, I got it several times. Serby got it several times. It was a weird time, man. And then add to that the stress of the material skyrocketing, and oh shit, now we're losing money. Yeah, how the hell are we gonna provide for our families and stuff like that? And it got really tough. Yeah,
I did.
It was tough. It was something that actually sales were not. People were buying homes, and the demand was there. The interest were low.
Yeah.
And it was hard to understand why people were still buying and wanted to build homes, but yet everything was expensive.
And they were touring homes through video.
I remember that.
Yes. Virtual tours.
Parade of Homes had a virtual Parade of Homes. I think a couple years.
Yes, they did.
That's wild.
So getting back to working with the family, is that a goal that you had?
Is that a goal that I had working with the family?
Your kids working for you? I mean, there's something about that. I think for me is,
I think it's beautiful.
Beautiful, yeah. Wholesome, man. Like, I'd love for my kids to come work with me at some point. Is that something that you had thought about before that happened?
What I thought about it, I like that idea, and I love the place where we're at and how things are working out. But I always wanted my children to do what they wanted to do in life. Yeah. And even as they went to construction, I told them, this is really what you want to do.
Yeah. Don't do it for me. Yeah.
Yeah, and don't do it for the money. I've been blessed. I've been able to do a lot of investments with my own company, Quality Investments, that I do foreclosures and flip homes and buy properties and resell it. And I was able to, now it's a little bit tougher, but it used to be a little bit easier to buy and resell and make profit. That I always wanted for them to know that do what you really like. Don't really be worried about the money or the profit.
Porque viene solo.
Sí, solo viene, because I think that if you love what you do, then the money's going to come. Yeah. But especially if you're happy and you're able to enjoy what you do, that's even better. But they say, no, we want to do it. I said, well, you're doing good. We can do good too.
No, we like the money.
Dad, we're not going to go anywhere else. We're going to be here.
I love making money.
Yeah, but it's not about the money.
But I love it. I love it.
It's a little bit of it.
Oh, man.
So yeah, they're there, and then they like what we do.
What a blessing, man. I mean, honestly, to me, if you know, I would love to have a business like that. My brother works with me, and I'm blessed to have him around. And so, man, kudos to you, and kudos to Via Homes for having the whole family together, man. That's a cool thing.
That's a very special thing.
Yeah,
I definitely admire that. I definitely do admire it. I think it's a beautiful thing that you have. Yeah. It's very special.
It's good. And then eventually, I mean, if they want to go and have their own companies, it's also good. But then if they ever decide, you know what, I want to start doing my own thing.
That's okay. Yeah.
That's good because you have your children, and then your children wants to be part of the company, or they want to be part of your homes, or you're going to have your own company. And that's something maybe down the line that they start thinking about it. But right now, we're okay the way we are.
How long are you going to be building?
How long am I going to be?
You're 30 years in.
30 years.
I'm 30 years in. I'm going to be 60, 4/20, April the 20th. So,
Marty.
yeah. So I'm going to be 60 already, and I don't know. I mean, I like what I do. I guess I just play by ear.
How do you feel that you're going to be 60? How does that feel?
How does that feel? It feels good because I feel healthy.
Okay.
And actually, I was meeting with my brother 2 days ago on Tuesday. And we were talking about, you know, all the blessings. And we said, you know what? Sometimes things don't go as well in life personally. You know, sometimes things seems to go the other way and you feel, pero at the end of the day, I was telling my brother, you know, the beauty about it is we're here. We can walk. And actually, we're having a beer. And so we can actually feel the beer, and it feels good. You know what I mean? Yeah. And we can see in all these blessings that we have, which is our health.
Yeah. Right.
It is actually the most important thing. And when things are going wrong with your health, that's when you start missing, you know, what's better. So if you're able to enjoy a beer, enjoy it. Yeah. And then don't overdo certain things, but whatever, you know, because you enjoy those things. And we're thinking, you know what? Yeah, I mean, we're blessed. And, I mean, we can travel. And we were actually talking, my brother and I, you know, I think we should go travel. There's parts in Mexico that we don't know. Yeah. Mucha gente dice, oh, estás bien en México, conoces I don't know, Guadalajara, por ejemplo. Okay. No, pues nunca he Guadalajara. Let's go. But I would like to know. I would like to know some places in Mexico that I have no idea. Jalisco. The only place I've probably been in Mexico, que es Cancún or... ¿Cuál es el otro? Bahamas. Okay. You know, is thanks to Matt Sketching Gary that has sponsored some of our trips.
Thank you, Isaac. If you're out there listening, thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Isaac.
Shout out to Isaac.
So, pero it'd be good. I was telling my brother, it'd be good for us to do that. Yeah. As brothers, you know, just hang out and go and have some fun and get to know some of these places.
Are you married, Mr. V?
Yes, I am married.
You're married?
I'm married. My wife works there at the office.
How many years you been married?
Maybe the same. I got 1980. Yeah,
put him on the spot. Hey, that one's off the record. Edit that part out.
By the way, you're supposed to have like a 3-second, ¿cómo le dicen? 5 seconds. Yeah. So we can show you the questions every now and then. No, pero I believe it was 85.
Love you, babe.
I think it was 85 when I got married, so that's plenty of years.
Wow.
Yeah, that's plenty of years.
What's the secret to your success
in marriage?
In marriage, man, you really get personal.
I mean, I think those are all questions we all have.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. I didn't have a question.
I mean, because relationships are not easy. You know, any relationship ain't easy. You know, you have a relationship with your brother. You know, I have a relationship with Ronnie. You know, all relationships like. Marriage has to be somewhat of an up and a down, no? In a way, like it's not always consistently perfect, you know. But what's the secret to your success in your marriage for so many years?
I mean, my story is special, I guess, or different. I think we're all unique and we all have our. Nomás el que trae el moral sabe lo que trae adentro. That's right. So I think that we all have our own stories. We all have our own things that has happened in our lives. And for me, my wife has been a big asset to the company, and he's been a big asset is keeping things together. It hasn't been easy for her of things that we have gone through in life. But I can say that I admire her and I respect her for who she is.
That's awesome.
And how she's been able to gone through a lot and still say, you know, here I am. here I am, and I care about this company, and I think Via Homes being together and being all together as a family, I would give her a lot of credit for that.
Yeah.
She's the glue.
She's the glue that keeps the company together and keep us together, because there's decisions that have to be made. And sometimes there's tough decisions that has to be made for Via Homes. And she's there. She's the one that talks to me and says, you know what, you got to reconsider this, whether it's an investment. Right now we're going through a big investment that we're trying to make. And she says, we need to do it for them. We need to do it for them, because for us, we have plenty of money.
Yeah.
But for them, we need to do it.
And their kids. And their kids. And their kids.
And
that's going back to legacy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which we talk about it at the meetings, leaving a legacy and leaving a positive impact on your family and the community.
Mm-hmm.
And that's at the end of the day, for me, it's what it's all about. Right?
And I think one thing that I can say is I do listen to her. I do listen to her because, when she tells me, you know what, we're going to do it. We're going to do it. We have all this money that we've been able to make throughout the years. And yeah, it's a gamble. It's a gamble right now to go and buy a bunch of lots.
Yeah.
And right now we're going into that process,
Right.
I don't know if it's going to go through or not, but we're in the process of possibly buying 52 lots, a whole subdivision.
Nice.
And that's over $3 million. And it's a lot of money. We need to come out with 25%. So 25% of over 3 million, 3.3, it's a lot of money. It's over 800,000.
Yes, sir.
So we have to put all that money down. And we said, no, it's good. So the key to it, I guess, if I'm bringing up a lot, is that when you buy lots, you need to be able to negotiate. Some of the developers will say, wow, that's not a good advice. No, but it's a good advice. I think that if you're going to buy lots from any developer, you need to negotiate the price to where you know that if the lot is going to sit there for so many months, a year, whatever, the way economy is, you need to get a little bit better price. Yeah. And how much depends on how many lots you're buying. If you're buying a lot or two, maybe you get $1,000 off.
Yeah.
2,000. But if you're buying a big volume of lots, maybe you get a little better price so that you have the time to sell those houses,
right?
Build those homes.
Yes, sir.
So there has to be that margin, so
yeah.
that you've been able to sell the house within that time, a year or 2 years. That's going to take. In our case, it probably be 2 years or more, because we do plan to build maybe a spec home or two, but we can't really go and build a lot of spec homes. It's not the same way before. Around the pandemic or somewhere around there, hacías un spec home y así se vendía.
Boom. You couldn't build them fast enough.
Yeah, and the interest rate was low, so everything will sell.
3%.
I remember that houses were like cars. I hated about the cars, that you go buy a car, well, this is the price of the car, but it's $4,000 more. You haven't got to
markup.
The markup value. So what the hell is that? Markup value. They were doing it on the cars. Yes, they're still trying to do it, but they go, nah.
Yeah.
But so on the houses was pretty much the same thing. You had the price on the house, and you were able to go up a little bit.
He's climbing the ladder.
Yeah,
climbing the ladder.
But
economics.
Yeah, because you have all these losses, and you say, you know what, I need to make up for these losses.
Yes,
so
sir.
the price have changed and everything has changed. But the interest rates started going up, so we're not there anymore. So doing spec homes, you gotta be careful.
It's a gamble.
Be very careful.
It's a gamble. I would say 10%. You can use at 10%. I build 10 houses in a year. You can have one house, maybe two.
Mm-hmm.
I build 20 houses. Well, maybe you can have 3 or 4. I will build 50 houses a year. You can have 5 or 6 houses, but don't overdo it,
right?
Because that can also kill you,
Yes, sir.
So I guess what I'm saying is that's something that we're going through right now as a family, into the purchase of those 52 lots. It's been done a lot of praying, and
but that's something you're able to talk to her with,
Oh yeah, she talked me into it and do it.
I just wanted to go on vacation with my team.
Whatever,
it's still working.
Yeah, some time off. I said, no, you gotta do it. You gotta do it. And I said, okay, we gotta do it.
But that's a woman. That's a woman's perspective on making sure that her family is set for and her kids are set for later in life. I mean, I'm not married. I got a girlfriend, but I'm not married. But I see this person, and I see strength, I see confidence, and I see a lot of growth in her. But one thing that I look for is what my mom is. You know, the most important woman in my life is my mom. I love my mom, and I can honestly say that in rich heritage, she is also the driving force behind my dad, and he has the confidence to talk to her and figure out where they're at. You know, and I think that that is a very important key within a family and within a marriage, because I think in a way my mom being involved within rich heritage has strengthened my dad and the company overall. You know, it's one of the weirdest things, but you know, up north where my parents build in Kingsville, Corpus, Alice, Freer, you know, mi mamá anda limpiando casas, and you're talking about a person that doesn't need to do that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, yeah, está ahí limpiando casas, looking at everything that's not done right, looking at everything, and you're talking about a person that she can hire someone to do it, but she's like, no, I need to do it. I need to see what's wrong. I need to see what's coming in, what's coming out. But that's the driving force, you know.
That's the driving force.
It's I personally believe that it's a very important role, and there's no strength like a woman's strength behind a man. You know, there's always that woman that will come into a man's life, and it's either gonna make him into the man that he's supposed to be, or there's gonna be a woman that's gonna break you down, and she's gonna take everything from you. You know, but from what I've just heard from you, I thought of my mom, and I thought of how, in one way, my dad's very blessed to have a woman that loves him, cares for him, and not just that, but also wants to see the company not die when they're gone. You know, she wants to see the company and be like, okay, like I got my kids, and I want them to do this. You know, I want them to be able, like, my parents never asked either one of us to be in construction, in no way, shape, or form. You know, my dad's always been like, hey, go get your education. You know, I studied engineering. I got to a senior year, threw it away. I did, you know. My brother's a natural gas engineer. He's doing very well for himself. My little brother he's going to be a doctor. So everyone's getting their education. But me personally, I can't see myself doing anything other than construction. I love this.
You love what you do.
I love every aspect of everything, from dealing with the clients, from going, I see, like, I don't see it as work. You know, I don't wake up.
Enjoying it.
Yeah, like, I don't wake up one day, I'm like, fuck, I gotta go to work. That's not how I feel. I wake up and I'm like, you know, one thing, my dad, the other day he called me, and he was driving up to Kingsville, and he's in the process of developing new subdivisions out there and whatnot. And he told me what you said. He's like, you need to start, like, there was a period in time for about 10 months that I was waking up every day at 5 a.m, and I would go to jiu-jitsu, and I was praying, and I was praying, and I was praying, and I was praying. And I did a couple competitions, and I got tired. My body got tired, and I just got tired, so I started sleeping until like 8, 7. He called me. He's like, hey, ya no te estás levantando temprano, you're not praying. He's like, you're not praying. Last night I woke up like at 4.
Yeah.
I couldn't sleep. I started praying. That's cool, you know, man. Just start praying. But it's the driving force is mom. You know, and there's no decision that gets made if it doesn't go through her. And I think for a man to realize that you need, you know, everyone's different. Everyone's perspective is different. But I see that, and I see strength in it. Because sometimes a man could be egotistic, and his ego, one thing they tell you in jiu-jitsu is check your ego at the door. Because I guarantee you the skinniest, scrawniest dudes, he will put you in some sort of lock that you wish to God you never were placed in. He will make you feel some pain that you wish you never would feel. You know, they say, oh, well, what if you get attacked by a boxer? Well, if the boxer don't knock you out in the first punch, you're putting him on the ground and you're going to break his neck. It's one of those things where it's just like, it's crazy. But the ego of a man to not listen to a wife could also be a killing force. You know?
I wonder how statistically our builders that are in the STBA, how many of them have their wives working with them? And what kind of success they have with that. It'd be interesting to find out.
It would be interesting. It would be interesting because I personally believe that a woman's perspective is very powerful, man.
Well, I can say this. I've never seen a builder whose wife was working with him not succeed. I've never seen that. Yeah. So there's got to be something said to having a good woman by your side.
I think it's balance.
Yeah.
You know? Maybe having your woman by your side is your balance, man.
Yeah.
And there's no truth in a woman's truth.
Yeah.
And a woman will hurt you.
Fíjate, when you were talking about praying, we grew up in a Catholic atmosphere. You know, like I was telling you about my mom and all that. Very, very strong Catholic. You know, going to church every Sunday, CCD, and all that kind of stuff. And I'm involved in church as well, like do collections every Sunday, Our Lady of Guadalupe. But that is, yes, I have faith and I pray. But when my wife went through hard times, I saw my wife, you know, she went through cancer, and she would pray every night, the Holy Rosary. And I saw that faith on her, whether I would join her or she was by herself. She would go on her room and pray on her own because she had that faith. And it was that faith in the prayer that got her through cancer all that time. I think.
Wow.
And I said, well, I guess what I'm saying is believing in God and all that kind of stuff and church and all that is good. But I don't know, maybe there's man different, you know, there's different men, different way of looking at things. But women, you know, or her, I want to talk about her. The way she was dedicated to the prayer every single day, praying her rosary. And I would talk to her and say, this is what makes me strong. This is what keeps me going. The faith in God and the prayer.
Yes, sir.
So, I mean, it's just amazing.
Do you believe that?
A lot of power in that.
It's like I pray, but am I praying the Holy Rosary? No, I'm not praying the Holy Rosary.
Yes, sir.
Go to church every Sunday, but other than that, you know.
Do you believe that having God in your marriage is something that's important?
I think having God, yes, it is. It is as far as you need to believe on something.
Okay.
And then I believe that whatever you believe, whatever religion you believe,
Yes, sir.
or whatever, I think it's all good as long as you believe on something. And there is people that they're the nicest people, and they actually don't believe in a particular religion.
Okay.
I have a brother actually that is cuando no creen en Dios, what do you call it?
Atheist?
Atheist, yes. But he's the nicest guy. And then you see him helping other people, so that helping and serving other people is there. So believing in God is good, but nevertheless, is be honest to your beliefs, I guess. That's what is more important than trying to, you know, so because I seen people that are like my brother. My brother has always been there for my older sister. That are actually, no, when she already passed away, but he would always go to Mexico, take her to the doctor and all that kind of stuff. And he was always there for her.
Yes, sir.
So and he was atheist. So I said, a lot of people do God's will without really being that close in church. ¿Sí me entiendes?
Yes, sir.
They're still doing God's will.
Yes, sir.
Because God's will is helping each other. God's will is love. And what is love? You know, when you care and you give everything yourself for other people. So they're practicing true love
Through giving.
through giving. And
Yes, sir.
not necessarily a religion. ¿Me entiendes? This religion is good. I mean, if that's what you believe. If you believe about helping other people, if you believe about serving, then religion is good for you.
Yes, sir.
But if religion is keeping you away from reality of life, then maybe there is a problem.
Yeah.
It's like Father Roy says in church where I go to, you know, when you start losing the contact with reality, then there is a problem.
Yes, sir.
Then there is a problem with religion if it's keeping you away from the reality of life. If you say, well, I gave myself to God and I don't believe in temptation. No, wait a minute. There's something wrong.
Right.
You know, if you don't believe in temptation and you don't know all this, and maybe it's la pastilla de la presión.
Yeah.
Te está haciendo mal la pastilla de la presión. So I mean, but it's how you handle that temptation. How do you handle the issues that come to your life? That matters. So I mean, I don't want to get into it because I respect everybody's belief.
Yeah.
Because I see nice people that don't believe in God, and they're the nicest people.
Yes, sir.
They're good. They're good.
Oh,
Interesting, man.
It's very
It's
interesting.
been a very interesting conversation thus far, right? talked about building very little.
I guess you didn't give me an agenda, so
Yeah.
this is whatever
No,
you ask me.
no,
I
This
answer.
is good, man. This is really good.
This is what it was supposed to be about, man.
Getting to know Mr. V.
Yeah, man.
AKA.
And it's
If
been
you,
awesome.
I have a question for you. If you could, actually, I got 3 questions for you.
Let's do it.
Before we sum it up. One, obviously, your brother's been a big influence on you. Does he know how much you appreciate him?
I think he does. I think he does because I've been there for him as well, as much as I could. And then there has been times when he has gone through issues on his personal life, and I have tried to be him for him. I'm sorry, and there's times when I went, well, maybe I could have done better.
Yeah.
Because there's always going to be that I could have done better. But yes, he knows. He knows I love him. He knows I'm there for him, and I will do anything for him.
If you could tell your 10-year-old self that I'm sure at that time you had a hard time walking.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that little kid is maybe a little insecure, maybe scared at the time, going through what he's going through. What would you tell your 10-year-old self? Looking back at it,
Looking
from where
back
you're
at
at
it,
now.
I think that I should have been to be better, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what you're saying?
Just
What advice would you give your 10-year-old self?
That you should be more open to play with your brother, because my brother wanted to play with me, when we were that age, 10, and he was 11 or 12. And actually, prior to that time that I got sick for this osteoporosis, my brother wanted to play with me. He wanted to, te tiro la pelota, hermano. No, man. And then, so I think, if anything, was that we need to be closer to each other. I should spend more and play with him and get to know him better.
Interesting.
Yeah, because he was always more into, before even I got sick, he was more into sport himself. So, but he wanted for me to be part of it.
Yeah.
the simplicity of that.
Just
to play.
Y como te digo, for me, he was more of a conservative person. He was more into studying and other things, but he was more into playing. So, and
Still
a lot
is,
of times,
right?
yes,
Still is.
yeah, en wrestling, ¿me entiendes? Luchador y todo, mi carnal.
Still is.
Pero
He's awesome. Man.
Yeah.
but I think that life can make you the person who you are.
Mm-hmm.
But nevertheless, I do believe, because I've seen it on mis nietos, on my grandchildren, that you actually have it within yourself. You know who you are. Because I've seen some grandchildren that they're one way since they're born. ¿Entiendes? Y ya los miras que they're that way. ¿Entiendes? And then you see another child being a little bit different. ¿Entiendes? Like, tengo una nieta, se llama Adeline, and Adeline is más calladita. ¿Entiendes? And I see Bibi. I love Bibi, and Bibi is más activa, more active, you know what I mean? Pero, I mean, they're raised the same way. They have the same parents. It's just
Their own personality.
the beauty and the mystery about life.
Yeah.
That we're unique. We're a unique person.
That's a beautiful thing.
Yes.
And there's millions of us.
Yes.
Billions.
Billions.
We're all unique.
You got one more?
I got one more. So you're a successful builder. And obviously we're doing this because STBA is an alliance that we are all part of to try to help each other out. What would you tell a young builder starting off? What would your best advice be?
A young builder that's starting off. I mean, the economy right now, it's a little hard. And I think that being part of STBA helps to where we're helping each other and take that advice. I would say, I mean, take care of your credit. Your credit is what makes you or kills you.
It's everything.
So be careful. Be careful with expenses. Be careful what you spend. There's a lot of things that you can claim as an expense, for company purpose. But you also want to show profit. Because at the end of the day, what the banks look at,
Did you make money?
is that you make money. They look at your income tax. And we had hard years in the pandemic. and we were not able to show as much profit for 1 year, and that did affect us somehow. So we did better the following year. 2022 was a lot better. So what I'm saying is for a new builder, just try to take care of your expenses. If you're doing a house or two, take care of your material, take care of what you buy, and then look at the policies for return so that you make the decent profit on every house. Hire the right subcontractors. Look at safety. Safety is number one. I mean, you don't want to get OSHA.
One of them OSHA fines.
Yeah, that would kill you. That would kill you as a new builder.
It's like $8,000.
Yes,
got one.
There goes some profit.
Yes, I mean, if you're a new builder, you can go down just OSHA, fine.
Yeah.
So be careful on those things. Safety. Try to make some profit, because at the end of the day, the bank will look at that.
Yeah.
What are you making? What do you have to show? Yeah, you're a new builder. Okay, you build these homes. How much profit do you make per home? And what are your finance? Have a good CPA. Have a good attorney. I mean, we have the contracts that we're doing. I think we learn a lot on the contracts, because we had a 25%.
We have it at 10%,
and we went down now. So that's good. So those are things to learn, and we're here to help each other.
Yeah.
To help each other in STB8, and that's what we're doing on a daily basis. Daily basis, I see the message.
I appreciate it.
Thank you guys.
Man,
this was good.
What a great interview. This is what it's all about, in my opinion, getting to know the builder. Because I think we all forget that behind that construction sign, there's a human being with family and
worries.
Yeah,
they gotta feed people.
Marriage. We all have the same problems, and we all got to get through them. But I appreciate you being here, Mr. B.
I didn't know what to expect.
Man,
I didn't know what to expect.
We didn't know either.
We didn't have an agenda to follow nor questions to ask. But at the end of the day, I'm gonna try to.
I think I got the real version of you.
Yeah.
And I think that's the most important thing.
I think family matters.
You've got. Just to sum up, right? We're still doing business, right? And so you've got some lots currently still on Glasscock.
And Glasscock, Glasscock in 2 Mile. That's Magnolia.
Gotcha. Okay.
We have a few lots
price
there.
Range. What's the price range for customers listening?
I mean, price range per home, they run around $350,000 to $400,000 homes that we
Great
build.
Location, Glasscock.
Great location.
Feeds into Sharyland, right?
That
Sharyland
is
School
correct.
District.
Nice.
And then we have just about 3-4 lots left at La Floresta. That's
where's La Floresta at?
That's on 23rd, close to Freddy Gonzalez.
Okay,
nice.
Good spot.
South of Freddy Gonzalez. And things go well, we might be getting a subdivision north of 107 and Ware Road.
Awesome.
That's the one that we're working on.
The 55 lots?
The 52 lots.
The 52. Oh, yeah, I already put another 3 on top.
We leave it on God's hands. If it's meant to happen, it's meant to happen.
Yeah.
And that's what we're doing right now. Yeah, we are concentrating on subdivisions more than the custom. Of course, we're open to do custom homes. But these are the areas that we're serving.
Awesome. Well, we wish you all the success.
Definitely all the best.
Continued success.
Yes.
If you need anything from the organization, obviously, you chime in all the time.
Definitely.
And so, appreciate it. What a first interview.
Man, I feel
cool. I'm excited. Who are we doing next week?
I'm gonna get Bale in here.
Okay.
From Bale
Eddie
Construction.
Bale, he's a young builder.
Yes. Now we're gonna go. But you know what? Talking about young builders,
he's making a name for himself.
Not just that. I had the privilege of sitting down with him yesterday. Man, this guy's been building for a long time.
Yeah.
He started building when he was 21 years old or 22 years old.
Jeez.
And he was building a house with his student loan money.
Wow.
And it took him 5 years to build it. But he was it was a good story to hear because you're
don't tell it all. Don't tell it all.
It's good.
We'll wait for him.
It's good because you think about it and you're like, man, that's some badass shit, bro. You know what I mean? But it was good.
Cool.
Thank you guys for the invitation.
Thank you.
Okay, appreciate it.
Thank you, Mignon. Appreciate it.
Thank you, man.